Is this starting?
No. All right.
All right.
How's it going, man?
Hi, Nicholas.
I watched all your videos in reverse. That's actually pretty good.
Did you?
No, not that kind of reverse. God damn it. I found some secret messages when rewinding your videos.
That's actually how we type. We're just not telling anyone.
Yeah, we use the Bible code. Great, man. So, getting right into the non-positive side of it, we definitely relate to your struggles of life and just stuck emotionally, getting caught up in love and trying to move on and move forward.
Yeah.
Then
in fact, you could give a lot of advice on that, I would say.
I will, sure, but mostly from more of this is what I went through and this is what I did, and it's very similar to what you went through or are going through. And then if that could be any help to you. But pretty much at the same age too. He's 28. God, I was a mess at 28.
It's 27.
You're 27, 28, whatever.
He was like, I'm 28. I'm 27.
Who's keeping track around sensory around here?
Right?
Yeah. Not him. Let's jump down and do a D for demon.
Let's just...
Right?
Yeah.
Captain America.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll run through your checklist here and then talk a little bit about the type and then some life insights, and there you go.
There you go. All right, let's get started.
All right, so we did actually, just jumping in, we did get you the exact same type.
Out of 512.
Yeah. And we typed somebody your exact same type probably a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Kevin.
Yeah, right. Kevin in the
really
class.
Cool kid.
Yeah.
Really cool guy.
He's in Australia/New Zealand. Australia.
Right? Yeah.
And we have a lot of your guys in our docs already.
That's right.
Yeah. So
there's some facts for you.
Yeah.
All right. So I would just go ahead and say just not this. Yes, of course. The tribe and this and that and the other.
He is in tribe self problems in life right now.
Yeah. Which everyone goes through that. So everyone is going to have tribe problems and everybody's going to have observer problems. We just happen to
catch him in his moment, in his stage in life.
Yeah, but the way that you work through who you are versus who the tribe is workable. You have the ability to move there. You have problems or situations with your dad and your mom and your girlfriend
and yourself and your identity and your confidence,
And then what do? You go to a therapist, you work through it, you talk to your mom, you work through
You're getting
these impossible tribe type situations.
Tribe self.
Yeah.
The single deciders, it's almost just a kinesthetic example. It feels like you're walking across kind of a marsh, in the mud, and you're trying to pull your weight up off the mud and not put too much weight in one foot at a time and sink. That's
just going all in on a decision.
That's what the single deciders feel like to me. They just shove one foot into the mud and they can't get out, and they're not using the other decider.
Yeah.
And they just feel stuck. And the double deciders are going back and forth.
One thing he was saying that he thought was actually a fault in him was that he would give people a second chance, and that he would kind of go backsies. He's like, I'm not a man of my word, or I don't know the wording he was using, I forget, but it was something along those lines of being disappointed or worried that you're not sticking to anything. And I was like, actually, because you are that way, you're allowing for the ebb and flow of decisions to need to go through life. Now, obviously, there's a certain point in time where you do have to be like, all right, I'm done. That's enough. And to hear you say yeah, I kind of was thinking putting a time limit on something where I do actually say enough is enough, and then being able to say I'm done and then moving on. That was really impressive. So it's yes, be a double decider. Be able to change and go ebb and flow with the tribe. I'm cutting you off, I'm bringing you back in. I'm cutting you off, I'm bringing you back in. But then at some point in time, put that marker in reality and be like, all right, enough's enough.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought it was really impressive, your double-decided.
Yeah, so this is where...
S for Savior.
Yeah, S for Savior. With our typing stuff, it's why we train the way we do, because people will be stuck in all sorts of situations and problems. And so you can't go off of...
circumstances. Yeah, current circumstances. Yeah, and plus, like, I feel like the way that you're communicating about a lot of the life situations. So, like, okay, you have this goal, you have this mission with your periodic table children's book.
Which is randomly a really good idea, actually.
I know. Yeah. I was like, wow, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
But then, like, what's stopping you? Oh, okay, scheduling.
Yeah,
like
that's where the foot is stuck in the mud.
See, okay, so you're like, I can work with the tribe, I can move with the tribe, I can move back and forth with the tribe.
Then it's
like, here's your greatest mission ever, and like scheduling,
managing the time, managing the schedule, gathering in all of the information, like how much research and knowledge and understandings do you have on the book business,
right?
And it's just usually like, here's where I'm at, and here's the problem. I don't know. I'm gone. I'm done. You know, like the conversation's now done. Just like stating it. Here's the facts. Here's the problem, and I don't really know what to do. And then that's it.
Because the reality is, what is happening is you're spending so much time in a savior side of one observer over dominating, taking out the planet, and can't dive all the way down to get that last observer.
This first one, man, if you're ever like looking at your friends and stuff, this observer decider game is the big one.
Yeah.
It's where you can see and use yourself as a reference. You can use us as well, of like me and you are double deciding, where we're not going too all in on self or tribe. You know, we'll make fun of the tribe, make fun of ourselves, compliment the tribe, compliment ourselves, have pain here, pain there, is just back and forth.
Right.
But then where the decider, the double decider, single observers will get stuck is in that information, trying to figure out the map of life.
Things freak you guys out.
Watching the EJs and the IPs, they'll be like, oh, I'm researching my book, I'm writing my book, I'm stuck, I'm not sure what to do, I'll have to go to a class, I'll have to talk to someone.
I need to do some scheduling, I need to do some managing, I need to do, I need to find information, no big deal.
Yeah, it's a real big one. All right, great.
One last note, it sounded like his friend might have been a single decider.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but the way you talked about your friend was that he like makes a decision and he's just like done. That would be something to look into. I don't know, but like.
It's hard to tell, yeah.
Yeah. All right. This one is pretty evident, and I think you know this. Like, you got your mission. Like, yeah.
So
you're not falling down a hole because you're trying to ask everybody who you are. You're very aware of your own decisions and your own passion.
But then as you're asking other people for their advice on what to do in life, it's really hard because it's like you're wanting to have your confidence, your point of view, your identity, your decisions. And then when that's not working, it gets really scary because it's like, I'm used to trusting myself, or I should be trusting myself what to do. And the fact that I can't, and I have to ask this idiot tribe, that's really hard.
That would be nerve-wracking, huh?
Yeah.
Is when the actual like identity dominant has to go and bring in the tribe. Yeah.
Because this is usually a really self-confident, like this is a natural born advantage that you should be taking advantage of like, look, out of all the fucking problems I have in life, at least I'm pretty naturally self-confident and calm in myself and my own decisions.
It's just by default, you guys trust yourselves. And that's where it's like, by default, trusting self. And so when things go bad, it would be like, oh my God, I was trusting myself.
Yeah, but like his upbringing and his current state now, it sounds like he's really much not trusting himself.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Right. Like, when things go bad, if you're used to trusting yourself, that would throw a lot off. And then I would say, like, in his situation now, the introverted decider is taking you on a ride.
Yeah, like, but we don't know him that well. How much was he trusting himself when he was 16? That's probably worse back then than it is now.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It sounds like he's had a hard time with his family and his dad his whole life.
Yeah.
And these are now probably smaller, large problems back then that are now compounding as he's getting older.
Right.
Doesn't have all the strength of like, how do I use and trust my own identity to push through life?
Right.
Doesn't have a lot of hours on that.
Right.
And is trying to kind of figure that out and do that now, which is exactly what we did when we were in our 20s, is going, shit, we kind of got shot up and didn't kind of get raised right. Not that our parents were bad, but like
it's just like what parents out there are
can
like.
equip
I
you,
went
right.
through the Alpha mission journey, became a warrior, then had kids, and then taught them, you know, beat them through the process. Like, the military is the only one doing this at scale. So
Right.
like, what parents are doing it right? None.
Not many.
They just aren't. But
So-
like, it's cool that he wants that for his family. And yeah, you would look to the military.
As far as I can tell, he's doing exactly what we were doing at his
Yeah.
age, and it really is that horrible, hopeless, helpless, feels like crap, but like it starts to get better as the part. It's like a train starting
Yeah.
off. It just starts so slow.
Yeah.
But like the more you keep putting into this, the more once that starts
That's what
to
he was
move.
saying. Like, that's what was so cool too. The first video of yours where you're talking about like, okay, I know shit happens and I know sometimes I fail, but like overall, it's just a graph, right? It's just a graph, and yeah, it's gonna go down and you're gonna hit and then it's going up a little bit. Like overall, it's like okay, 1%, 1%, 1% each month, still going up because you're just constantly working at it. You know, getting. Okay, I got that foundation.
You know,
But yeah.
just some random thing we can kind of look into later. You remember Darren Brown on the interview last night? He had mentioned that people in their 20s and 30s, it's more about themselves and trying to discover themselves. And then as they
Yes.
get older, it's now more about giving back to the tribe.
The grow and the give.
And giving out.
Yeah.
And Darren, you know, he's in his late 40s, and he's speaking of kind of on the macro scale, just knowing how people work in general.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody looks at teenagers and they're like, oh, they're all fucked up because of their hormones, right? Now that we're older,
Yeah.
right? Like looking at 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like what a fucking difference being, you know, I'm 40, I feel older than that, but like looking at somebody in their late 20s, early 30s,
Mm-hmm.
it feels almost like a teenager. Not the same, but like it's
How much more life there is to go
they're
through.
in a very intense reality at
Yeah.
that age. We were in an extremely intense reality in our late 20s and early 30s.
There's so much pressure and so much massive change happening.
Yeah.
That you're now like, I was not responsible for shit. Oh my God. Reality happened. And now I'm responsible for everything.
He would know this. Jordan Peterson talks about how, like, coincidentally, like, the crime spikes of somebody's age is at 25. That's also coincidentally when they're the most aware and artistic and creative at 25, which is
Wow.
coincidentally when their hormones
are like
are
at a
peaking
peak.
at 25.
That's an
So how much the
intense-
hormones
Right.
have to deal with.
Write it out, bro. That's basically
As
what
well
we're
as
getting
like
at.
too, like, you know, like you're asking about borderline and different stuff like that. Like hormone imbalances are real. I don't know,
Yeah.
you know, if it's age or a real deficiency or diet or who the hell knows what. But like we're seeing that stuff is no joke. Like keeping track of hormones and chapters in life you're in, like shit, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so we can come back to that. But
We'll come back to that because, yeah, you know this one. You gather.
Yeah,
You're a gatherer to hell.
yeah. That's
That one's definitely pretty easy.
yeah.
I mean, he knows. You're going to know all this. In fact, he's already skipped ahead.
Right. So
Might as well just hurry
let's
the fuck
skip ahead
up.
then too. He was thinking that he might be IP, which
No, okay.
Right,
He
but-
he was like, I relate to Chris Evans, but in the very beginning, he's like,
and also like mentioning what we were saying earlier, the tribe issues, the tribe pain, you know,
yeah, and yeah,
identity.
and again, that's like that hits everyone.
The identity issues are far more painful than the observer issues are just scary.
And that would really scare it. Yeah. And what we see too is that everyone is very aware of their middle function struggle. Because
Yeah.
this larger one just is so real. That's obviously real. You know, things, oh my God. But yeah. This one
Yeah.
wants to do something with it. Literally learning for the sake of his mission that he wants to do something
Right.
with. So yep, 1, 2, and then this was interesting. Activated sleep.
Has sleep is blasting away on the video, but what my interpretation was is like when I'm like, well, it's like no matter how many times we do these damn typing things, it's always still like nervous when I go, all right, here's what I got. What did you
know.
get? I'm like, you know, like because I'm thinking like,
Because people are so complex.
how do I prove that he has
That's it.
blast last? And what I was gonna say, if you got something different, which you didn't, you got the same. Thank
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
was that my theory of why he's talking and blasting so same with Kevin a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Of like I say it feels like he's very full. He's
Loaded
really
up.
processed all this. He's coming to the video
Right.
and it's a lot coming out. And normally he wouldn't be running around blasting, controlling, and teaching the tribe. This just happens to be a shot in this, in this
and he
video.
was also communicating like, "Ooh, I'm nervous to do this," and then he was like, "Okay, once I did this once, I could do it again." Like, those of us that have blast last, it's not that we can't talk; it just has to happen after we're loaded up, after we're full. And yeah, you know, again, it's the transitioning type stuff is difficult as well too. Notice he was working at the sushi place for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
Like the jump, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun one in life.
Right.
Yeah. Valuing things in the abstract. Oh my God! Like the children's book, the relationships, just your whole life is about valuing stuff in the abstract.
To hell. And I would say, like, this is what I would say would be nice to hear a little bit about from you, because you as a teenager would cry every night. You got so effective and pulled around. This is what I was seeing that he was dealing with on the third video there, like the current situation now. It's like pulled so strongly by your FI, like pulling down with that pain. He even mentioned like 1 whole year of crying. And I was just like, okay, you have masculine, we'll get to that in a second, masculine FI. So it's just a overwhelming, and like your identity is feeling, and it's doubly activated. That's an intense function that when it gets hit, when it's on and when it's doing good, it's really good. And it's like moving you and it's strong. But like when it's sucking you down, it's just like, I feel like that's such a heavy weighted emotional burden is what it seems like. And Dave went through the period of like crying as a teenager kid, so much so. And this is like what I get so inspired by.
I definitely cry for every night for many years, and then I graduated to crying probably 3 to 4 times a week for the next 20 years.
Right. To just like
beat that.
Just to schedule it.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't have a hold of you anymore. You have a hold of it.
Honestly, feels like a muscle that I overworked so much.
Yeah.
Growing up that it's become exhausted. As well as I've really learned to take on a new identity, and that is the identity of the bad guy, to take on the identity of having a hard heart, to be strong, aggressive, a gangster, a thug, like these warrior, not just warrior, but warrior / bad guy, because I'm coming from such a soft, nice guy.
Yeah.
And that was what was causing, I'm just this fucking romantic, right? So I'm just falling deeply in love, needing human connection so much, close personal connection to close friends, girlfriends, etc. And then when that would fall apart, I was just,
you're just a whole world
devastated to the point of suicidal.
Right.
So what's the opposite of soft, nice guy is hard, bad guy.
Right.
So I started becoming obsessed with C.T. Fletcher. Same guys you're following too as well, Owen Cook and Jordan Peterson. Joe Rogan's really good. Joe Rogan in particular, because he's a hard guy. You know, he's a fucking badass.
T-E-S-E,
you got that animalistic.
masculine.
That animal, yeah, he's ST as well.
Same type as me, except double masculine.
So I didn't watch people like Joe Rogan, Elliot Hulse as well. Teal Swan, oh shit, fuck.
Same type as me.
I know.
Fucking
I'm just looking at the notes here.
She's a little too soft.
Yeah, she's kind of a nut. But like, I wasn't watching Joe Rogan and C.T. Fletcher for the sake of like, what nerdy shit are they saying?
No,
I'm like,
it's for an identity change, to harden the heart so that it can flourish, not so that it can be taken and pulled.
And I would start over the years. I would get the movies that had the aggressive, violent
Fury.
Fury movie. I watched over and over and over and over, like just every day for a few years. The Fury movie with Brad Pitt in it, just to get hard. And then it's a time of like trying to reconcile the good guy and the bad guy and the who am I and what do I want to do. And now it's just it feels like it's like an earthquake or a tidal wave where it's just, yes, you're going to swing way far on this extreme and then kind of come back, and then it eventually, as you get older, I think a lot of it is just fucking age. I don't think there's a way to speak to this.
You put a lot of practice in, but of course it is time under tension.
It settles. So now it's like I do not have the deep love that I had when I was a kid, in that very just impassionate sweep you off your feet kind of feeling.
Right.
But because that, even though that character is still there, the swings are gone. So because my highs are not allowed to go so high anymore, they just don't go high anymore, then the lows can't go low.
Right.
You
You
know?
neutralize a lot, but it's so worth it because you're not living a life of like swing way up or swing way down. If you let your FI just pull you into deeply falling in love with somebody, my whole life is about this person. It's you. One thing that happened with Dave and I, like when we first connected, it was like he connected to me and it was like soul connecting. And we had like some fight early on and I was just like, I can't talk to you anymore. And it hit him so hard that he was like, never again will I let something take my heart so deeply that could literally threaten my survival.
Right.
And so you chose at that time to attach your FI to your mission, which was something that was worth dying for / couldn't take your life from you. Like having something be attached to someone, which is so movable and so erratic, like that causes so much instability, basically.
And it was a point in time that only you can do. Only you can. So this isn't something I could tell you, or it's a magical crossroad that may or may not happen to you in your life. But what magically happened for me is that finally I was under enough pain and enough threat of death just for so long. And coincidentally, at the same time, I became conscious enough to realize what was going on and see that I could get off those railroad tracks.
Right.
And I go, oh, wait a minute. If I move my FI and my heart to a mission and I make that mission abstract, so it's not, can't be your fucking book, right? Because when your fucking book doesn't work out, then you're devastated again. Fuck you. You're setting yourself up to fail. No, you're setting your mission abstractly so that can never be taken away from you. And no person can come in and get in between that. Then from there, it's literally setting a priority list of mission 1, Shannon 2, Cody 3, business 4. Like they're all just right in a row. So when Jack Power comes to town and says you got to shoot one in the head, you know right away where the priorities are, and so you don't have this emotional turmoil.
What do I do? I can't. Yeah, absolutely.
You can settle those emotions before they happen, knowing I'm going to move in life and I'm going to become attached to my book. I'm going to attach to my mission, attached to my friend, my girlfriend. Hey, jackass, what do you think's going to happen? It's going to get ripped out from underneath you, and now you're going to go for that fucking roller coaster ride again. You can start to get ahead of it. Problem is, the only answer, and this is the hero's journey, is taking on that hard-hearted, aggressive motherfucking bastard. Yeah, you got to have that hardness and that toughness to dial in some of that. Last point here. What also made sense to me as well is like coming from a mechanical background, just because your fucking Toyota Corolla can go 130 miles an hour, right? It doesn't mean that that's how fast you should fucking drive. You'll burn it out. Yeah. Just because you have high consciousness and high emotional states doesn't mean that when you get into a relationship or get into work,
just crank
it the fuck up. And then it's showing up much like your work patterns where they go through the roof and then they crash, right? It's like, holy shit, just because I can do that doesn't mean I should do that. So it's learning to harden it up, dial it down, get tough, get your heart dry and bring it down. You're going to have more than enough love. And then it starts to get a balance.
Absolutely. Really so well
Crazy,
said.
huh?
Yeah.
One hell of an answer you don't want to hear, but that's how it fucking works.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Right. And this is just the easy shit. He's audio. So just masculine sensing and feminine with the tribe.
Well, yes,
so just yes and yes. Masculine FI, feminine NE. So the possibilities are endless on top of endless. And just what you want it to be.
a pretty middle of the road ENFP too.
I know you're not all the way cranked up, and you're not all the way cranked down.
Yeah, you got that going for you.
Yeah. We're such jackasses.
Great.
So yeah, I think he just bounced out of the class. I'm not sure. But you understand this shit, so we'll go over it. Again, animal filters playing out in reality. We all do this stuff all day long. You cycle from consume. You already know this. Learning. And then you'll go do. So it's like getting to the work part is so hard because of how over dominating that consume is. And then as a hobby, you will sleep energy stuff. I noticed he was talking about like he just would literally like fall asleep after work.
Yeah.
Like crash.
Right.
And then get up and consume and start the party all over again.
Right.
And
who
then
knows?
stay
Who
up all
knows
night.
what time?
Right.
I remember when I was his age, I would experiment with like I went hardcore into like doing like a 25-hour day because I was noticing that my
Right.
patterns were off, or even a 26-hour
Like
day.
trying to F with the sun.
Yeah, I'm like, oh fuck this! Like my body seems to be
It
on a
didn't
different.
work.
I messed around with that for years,
Yeah.
trying to get a schedule like that.
Yeah, but that would be the goal. I mean, you really do need to SI shit. That's where your dashboard is gonna blink here, and we'll show that.
I would honestly tell you, man, like at this stage in life, you're realistically not going to be on a set schedule for quite a while.
That's true. I mean,
Because you're just too much in the trying to figure out life, get yourself settled, get yourself on your feet stage.
right.
That is not fit in a box.
Right.
I have learned to just roll with it and go, can I just get this chaotic point of life done faster? I know eventually I need a schedule, therefore I need to get settled. So let's
True.
get wild now.
Honestly, I would say, like, well, see, I feel like it kind of goes back and forth, but the biggest thing for you is absolutely going to be like dialing that FI in, you know, because you gotta own that. You gotta own your emotional state, because if you don't own your emotional state, how are you gonna work on your chores, work on your dishes, you know? But then at the same time, like, getting your chores owned, getting your dishes owned, getting your sleep schedule owned does give your feeling state something to stand on. You know what I mean? Speaking of, it's got masculine emotional state and masculine sensory, which is kind of interesting. We can talk about that in a little bit. Let's go through your parts. So Savior 1, Savior 2, that equals your consume. You know all about that. You consume to hell, which, yes, like great people to consume, right? And then blast opposite, and that gives you your first savior. Second savior, play, doing. Gosh, you go right down the line here. So 2. Interesting.
Yeah.
We haven't seen one of those in a while.
Well, since what's his name 2 weeks ago.
Well, that's true. That's exactly what we saw this last.
Yeah.
This activates your TE because it's connecting these two. So it's like this is getting asked for first. You get that default, and then this is asked for second. So you will pull up your TE. You communicate just fine with the tribe, work just fine with the tribe, and wow, look at that straight flush.
Just an out of the box Myers-Briggs ENFP.
It's gonna not like that. You're boring.
Yeah.
It's like, no, don't say that. We just noticed EPs. They're always looking for something new. So if you tell them that they're like boring or the same old patterns that
Right.
we've seen, they're like, oh my God.
The ENFPs we've seen, though, are consistently the one type that usually figures out their type.
You always say that, but
God
then like
damn.
how many of them thought they were INTJs?
Sure, but most types are always 90-something% always off.
Right. Like
but
literally it's like 98%
Out of the ENFPs,
off.
there's a large majority of them, I would say a majority of them, that are usually have figured themselves out,
Right.
you know?
All right, let's go through the pinged wires. So, you know, these are just the little activation points. It's like which ones are getting called up in order here. So you get one and one for your saviors. That's pretty easy. And then play is going to give you another one for any, and then one for TE. And then sleep energy is going to give you one for that, one for this. So you are doubling up, oh my God, on your saviors.
Great. And then the masculine FI, masculine SI.
Masculine inner world.
Yeah, masculine inner world. So that's going to be
Feminine outer world.
that's going to be a tough one too, because you go into that deep inner world
Mm-hmm.
with sleep energy, and it's very masculine, very non-movable.
Right.
So you're dancing around the outside
My
world.
pain. Gosh, that would
Yeah.
be sleep energy. When you go to sleep energy and you're processing all your pain, wow,
Yeah.
that could really suck you down in the, you know.
The only thing that can move that is you. And that's done. For me, it was using my N and my T of looking around going, what is working in the outside world? How are people getting through life, not getting emotionally their feet knocked out from underneath them?
Right.
And then I had to figure out the logic, and I had to TE, understand it and believe it, and get this decider to start moving my FI. Go, come on, do this. Start hardening your heart. Start changing your identity.
Right.
Be less of a romantic. You're romantic enough.
Yeah.
That always stays. It's not like you eventually turn into some kind of a bad guy or whatever, but like it's like there's a difference between like a good guy and a bad guy, and like you'll see it now in some of the new superhero movies where the like Batman, for example.
Right. He's a good example of a bad guy, good guy.
Yeah. He's a good guy, but he's not a nice guy.
There you go.
You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
Not nice guy. I mean, it's just like both Dave and I had to process this. I had to spend just years walking in the dark late at night, just hammering to hell on my FI because I have it 4th and it's feminine, and just, as a tribe idiot, I would get so hurt by just every goddamn thing. And I had to just hone it in to the point where I'm just like making a masculine shell around that FI, and you just stop caring. You attach your identity to what the hell am I doing on this planet? And you stop seeing that like every bad relationship situation is like a gravestone. You start seeing it as just like another part of reality. So if you have a falling out of the friendship, you're like, that's okay. I have more opportunity in the future, because you've attached your identity to an abstract future possibility.
The best guy, and you've probably already followed him now, but
right.
Not to go over known information or anything like that, but David Goggins really is the king of hardening that heart.
Yeah.
And building the calluses.
Yeah, because he was so weak. I mean, he's got demon FI as well. It's masculine FI, but it's demon FI. And he had a really hard time because it just hurt him so bad when the tribe was very abusive.
It was harder for Goggins because he was Savior TE.
Yeah.
We typed him as SETE, Saviors.
Yeah.
Double feminine of all types, right?
Right.
And,
which means masculine FI, because he's got feminine TE.
Masculine FI, and it's a demon.
Right.
So he had to really push to start believing in himself, because he doesn't naturally do that, and to build those calluses in his heart through the hard training. And
it doesn't just happen. You have to go through the hell.
Thankfully for us, we were in quite a few situations over the past 10 to 15 years. A lot of it to do with like business, and we got started in our own businesses early, in our early 20s, and then
in a house that literally was just like
so the problems came to us.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of intense hell being put on us.
Right.
And that was really good for us, because all of these past other issues all of a sudden had to take a back seat, because we had to fight to survive every day for many years, and that really helped put the gun to our head.
Right, and the reality was like, because you could go through that for years. You could go through that for your entire life and never make any changes. It was like, that's enough, no more. It was like this just, I'm done. I'm done playing this like drama game. That's enough, no more. And then every problem that came to us was like, you're going to get solved. Because you just, like, you would let stuff be unsolvable. Like, oh, well, that's not solvable. I just get taken by my emotions. Or that's not solvable. I'm just not good with schedule. What am I supposed to do with that? It's like determining that every single problem that comes across your path is like, you are going down. And we would talk about it like, who is going to get killed today? What is going to get killed today? And we'd just turn into these killers of problems. And it's that mindset that you're like, well, I'm determined, so what is the solution? I don't know. Maybe David Goggins has it. Maybe Gary Vaynerchuk has it. Somebody solved this. I'm going to find someone who solved this and use the map that they've already, gone through.
Yeah. Speaking of your buddies here, right?
Yeah.
So.
Let's put stuff down here.
Yeah, actually, hold on. I want to click on this real quick. Let me get that. I'll just put it over here so I can take a look at it again. Go ahead, walk us through the guys.
So all
here.
4 of these guys with the bolded are your same type. I thought he reminded me a lot of this one here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's your buddy. It's like, I don't like bearded Owen. I love bearded Owen.
Have you watched some of his stuff recently, the past few months?
It's amazing. He's amazing.
Well,
he's annoying because of that. Like, I'm gonna talk for 4 hours.
Yeah, no, just that. I totally relate to what Nicholas is saying. Is like, and now like they're just.
They are getting weird.
Yeah.
You're right. They are getting weird, but there's still some.
Absolutely. You get into some of the slightly older stuff. And that's part of like what we're finding with following heroes is like anybody. Like Gary Vaynerchuk is going to be an angry old drunk someday, or who the hell knows what happens to him, And same with us. We're gonna go crazy, and you're like, remember those psychos that I did the video? Like, you got to be able to take what you can from people.
That's right.
Including your parents.
Right.
Because you know what? They're just a couple of weirdos that you happen to be fucking roommates with for 20 years.
That's the reality.
And you're related to them, and who fucking cares?
Yep.
Do you care?
There's nothing that they could give you or not give you that you would have or not have on this planet. Nobody has it any different.
They're not your parents. They're just two roommates that you grew up with.
Yep.
They
owe you nothing, and you owe them nothing, and
they're just a couple of losers trying to get through life.
When we
no offense to your parents. That's how we had to process ours. Is like I had my dad on such a pedestal, and therefore it was causing so much emotional. I couldn't get moving in life. This is in my early 20s, and I finally had to go. You know what? This is just some jackass living in the Bay Area trying to fucking do his life that was raised in a really bad situation. And once I saw that he did so much better than his dad, and then my job was to do better than my dad. And so I then started to see him as just a guy trying to do his best, even though he did a so-so job or whatever. At least from my point of view. It
allows you to take the positivity
and the responsibility.
Because there's not weight to it. There shouldn't be weight to it because it's not that you're missing anything or you don't have anything in reality because of your parents. And in this, you mentioned growth versus fixed mindset. Whenever we hear our own selves saying anything like, well, I was born with X and Y situation, therefore I'm screwed in this area or that area. Like, how many of those negative situations a fixed mindset could put together and create? You have to start playing a different game and looking at everything in a different way. I got this and this. I'm so lucky because now I can make this out of it. You change your entire way of looking at life. Oh, Owen, I don't like this, and this about him. Oh, Owen, look at how amazing it is to see an EP, an ENFP, who has created a structure for his life, which is impossible for EPs to do. Oh my God, what an amazing human who's actually made himself financially free in life. Holy shit. Now I want to see what that guy has done because there's so many new possibilities that have come from him because of a change in a mindset. You're looking for, how can I see this as a jumping off point instead of a negative.
As well as make notes of like, I'm going to steal everything good and then not make the same mistakes. I'm not going to get sloppy and wild and, all the stuff he's doing now.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, a big thing with the parents, and this is what a lot of people go through. This is what I had to go through, and you had to go through too.
Yeah.
I now have a relationship with my parents, but I had to go through 7 years of not talking to them at all. And then I haven't gone and seen them in many, many years. They've come up here a couple times.
Right.
I'm now have a kind of they're just a couple of old people that live far away relationship.
That you knew growing up.
They're no longer an emotional, I'm my own man, and they're my parents. For Shan, her parents, they haven't got there yet. Her dad is still very controlling, and you need to bow down, and I'm the dad. And she's like, look, I need to be my own woman. And
I'll let you handle that one. Yeah, like my mom has come back around, which is great, but it took 3 years of them not talking to me. And it's like, you just have to be like, oh, well, I'm going to keep moving on. And, eventually I'm sure my dad will come back around. But I used to have so much weight in that area. Like that used to be the biggest deal. I'm a tribe idiot, And now I just have so much peace about it because they could both come back tomorrow and I'd be like, great, I don't care.
Yeah.
I have let go of so much, therefore I can fly, I can grow,
So these are the destinations. It's not like you're going to get there anytime soon, and that's okay.
That's okay. It took years for both of us.
You are a little bit ahead of us.
Right, there you go.
At the same age.
See a positive.
Yeah. Like, if I could just tell you, like, if I could go back and tell myself, like, it's hell, and you have more hell, and more hell, and more hell, and more hell.
And it's okay.
And it slowly starts to get better, and it does get better. And like, the biggest thing that I would tell myself going back is, like, this is a problem that you work. You work the problem, and the more you put in your time and your energy and you're crying and you're struggling and you're wandering and all your crazy shit, you eventually do get it done. And looking back, you're like, I got through it. Not like it was some random thing and all of a sudden it's gone. It's like, no, I worked it out.
Right.
I figured it out. I settled it. and I'm not afraid of it. And it's not like it's going to come back anymore because that chapter has been settled.
Right.
And it now is a part of my life, and it now feels normal. When you're in it now, you feel like you're in some alternate universe.
It's the largest thing ever.
Eventually, this reality, because it does not go away, it becomes normal, and you figure out how to get through it. Right. The David Deida, Way of the Superior Man. Definitely read that. If you haven't already. If you haven't already, of course. And when reading it, I mean, maybe you read it again. Don't see it as like a male versus female thing. See it as a human building an internal foundation for whoever and whatever partner, even friends, to be able to join you. Like, he was asking, like, how did you guys get, how would you ever get, like, an alpha female if you're on your mission and you're doing this, and then you have, like, females that are up, down, all over the place? Like, how would you even go about doing that? Again, I would say the first step is always be a man on his mission. Owen Cook, man on his mission, man on his mission. And then that way the people can be added to you. Otherwise, you're just a dysfunctional person looking for another stronger person, and then you get, or you're trying to get stronger and getting weighted down and getting pulled through this drama back and forth. Always have your mission as your solid foundation. And then, like, with Dave and I, it was not, like, I was not great. I was a drama idiot. Literally met Dave when I was married, and just, like, it was years of determining, okay, if I want to be with you, I better have a mission that means something, and it better be the same mission as yours. And yeah, I did a lot of beating on my own self and, back and forth really for years to hone in becoming a strong female that has the ability to partner with somebody. And a lot of the way of the superior man is what I had to do, but it wasn't something that came easy. It took years. But of course, start with the right foundation. You have to start with the right person. You can't be starting with somebody, like, I know you mentioned kind of a little bit here and there, but like, if you're starting with somebody who's dealing with problems like drug addiction or whatever, like, you can't just beat the hell out of anyone and be like, someday, like, start with somebody who is actually someone who has the mental capacity to drive forward, actually have a mission for themselves, and is basically in a rock and a hard place and fucking has to, But then again, it is going to be a lot of determining, Dave said to us early on, we are never going to fight. I am going to have it to where we don't fight ever. And I was just like, okay, good luck. And so
with that.
fought for years until
intensely
we got it all out.
Yeah.
Not just necessarily all out, but like solved every single little issue.
Just like everything else in life.
As well as found ways to communicate all that kind of energy that was bottling up and causing fights.
Right.
A lot of it was miscommunication, so we were able to use business systems to learn how to communicate better through whiteboards and writing and all sorts of, like, boss-oriented shit.
Right.
And that helped a lot. Then we also got very comfortable with constantly, and we teach our son Cody this as well,
yes,
to swear a lot during the day. So when I do something that frustrates her, she says, "You dumb fucking idiot," and it gets out now.
Right.
And you see us doing this on the video, like that's what we do in real life.
Yes.
The point is, again, referencing back earlier,
if you're playing like a fake land, happy land all the time, you're trying to hold like super high, it's gonna swing, and it's gonna swing hard.
Yeah. So you get that negativity going out constantly in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And finding somebody that it can work with you on that honest level.
Right.
And therefore, it's back to the hero's journey of being calm and comfortable with the light and the darkness.
Yeah.
Being calm and comfortable with your pain and your aggression and your anger, and then quickly back over to humor. So you're not overdoing any one of them. So when you get mad, you throw something across the room, you should be the first one to fucking laugh about it.
Be like, all right, that was pretty dumb.
Yeah, but you got to get that energy out just for a minute and then go back to being funny to balance it. But you got that energy out, don't let it build up.
Right.
I'll tell you, man, where you might be, I don't know a whole lot about you, but like what has helped us out a lot, and when I see other people too, is when they get stuck in a rut of like getting things shaken up, change things. Like you might need to switch up the job,
right?
Like your environment. Like if you're stuck in a rut and a routine, having something put that pressure on you to get you to start activating different parts of your brain and getting moving. You had asked about the work consistency. Like, if I work in bursts and then I take some time off at the end of the year, does it add up? No. Slow and consistent will beat the shit out of the work burst game.
Yep.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
we had to find that out the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? He had a couple other questions too. You also talked about how often do the tidal waves come around. So
that's an interesting question because, like, pain body, right? Like, it depends on the time of life you're in, and it depends on the person.
So you're in a spot to where you can ask a million questions in a million directions, and then so the fuck what? You get every single answer for everything. It doesn't fucking matter. Really, what unites all this stuff that makes a difference, and to where now you have a standard to judge by, is the goal, is the mission. So now you're counting how often does our tidal waves come up that knock us off our goal. Like we got on the whiteboard over here.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of shit we got to get done by Thursday, right? And right now it's, what the fuck is it, like Sunday or Saturday, Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we got all this shit we got to do by next Thursday. And so what we look at is, like, say on Monday we get in a fight or something blows up or whatever, and then there's a tidal wave that knocks us off the mission. That's one that we'll fucking make a mark of. Like, we had a plan, we had a goal, we're going somewhere, and the tidal wave knocked us out.
Which is and like everyone is so on board with our next goals that, like, we're making subtle decisions and subtle observations all day long to protect that future goal. And, like, we'll do, like, little goals and then larger goals. Like, right now we have a large impossible goal, which is, you know, getting off work by 2 p.m., getting all our production done. It's not something that we're doing right now. So it's like, okay, we have to get there. In order to get there, we got to get here. In order to get here, we got to get here. In order to get here, we got to... Like, you need to start literally breaking down your book into SI steps.
Your book is a great place to start.
Yes.
Because you got a great idea. Honestly, it's a great idea.
It is a great idea.
And you'd be damn good at it because you're kind of like smartest guy in the room syndrome. And very clever. But then very likable and relatable. Like, you would fucking kill it on a kid's book.
Yeah. In fact, one of the guys in that doc, I think, did do... So this guy... Like, he had, like, a whole play on...
I don't remember.
The children's...
Yeah. Okay, you were in the famous ENFP doc.
I know. You go right here. Which you can't see. Right there. That's Louis C.K.
Yeah. Where's your red hair? Does he have red hair? I couldn't tell, does he?
I think it was blonde.
Oh, he's Swedish. Ireland, too.
Yeah.
It's my brother right there. We've got Irish in our blood.
Yeah.
Fucking weirdos. The book, man. The book is where you can throw yourself into the lion's den and start setting small goals. Like, have the ultimate goal of taking it to a high level, but then also figure out how you can work with little
pragmatic in reality. ST.
And
break it down. And
that would be. Getting very comfortable with the version game. Like, get a version that you can give away. Get a version you can sell at school, some elementary school for $1.
It will not go 0 to perfect. Right. It just doesn't work that way.
Just little practice.
You have to be willing to put shit out there. If you're not willing to, this is what I call the duct tape version. It's like, say you get in a car accident and your bumper's hanging off your car. Are you going to be that guy that's like, oh, I can't get it fixed until I go to the shop. I don't have money right now, so it's going to just hang there, and then eventually it gets ripped off? Or do you put duct tape on it right now, and you're like, I'll get to it. And then the next version is like, I'll zip tie it. And then the next version is like, okay, I finally learned how to play the Bondo game, and then I Bondoed it because I just needed it, you know. And then the next version is like, okay, finally, eventually, I am going to go to the shop, but I won't have them painted. You have to start letting yourself go through the ugly versions. Otherwise, 0 to perfect, you'll be the guy whose bumper gets ripped off.
So I would end with that. The biggest thing that we would do and that we would say and that we do in our own life is, like, we use these damn goals to get us together for game day. Otherwise, you're practicing and rehearsing and thinking and dramatizing and my mom and this. You're just lost in the bullshit.
Yeah.
But when you set that goal, like for us, we got a big goal. This is a pretty big goal. For us, for Thursday, we got all these videos we want to get done. And Sandbag, we got the meetups coming in. So we got a lot of work to get done here.
Right.
And so our life just becomes tunnel vision about get this done by Thursday.
Right.
And then usually our goals are usually only a day or two at a time, right? And then sometimes there'll be a month, or I have a goal of like, let's get the website organized and put together by the end of the year, right?
Right.
And so it's like these become that tunnel vision of it. It just allows all the energy to focus and not get lost into this dreamland.
Yeah. It
Now-
allows you to tether to reality instead of staying in like, I'm still creating it world.
So if you're lucky enough to have a larger goal, like the book, you then need to get to the next step and have a short goal. Like, what are you going to do with your book?
By tomorrow.
Well, before you get there, I would do exactly what Arnold Schwarzenegger says. So, like, let's say, what is it, July? What could you do? You got school coming out in September, October, August.
Right.
What could you do in the next 2 to 3 months with your book? That's a very small, simple, kind of a giveaway version, something like this. And then get something so easy that you're like, well, I could do this. And so it's a goal that's not emotionally that big of a deal. And then from there, you can work backwards from, all right, so what would I have to get done by the weekend? What would I have to get done here? And then you just
Love it.
SI your way through there, and that builds up the muscles and the reps so you can be ready to be a good steward of and earn that higher success.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah. You got to build your way there, and it comes in little tiny steps to get there.
All stuff you already know, but we just encourage you to keep going, man.
Yeah.
You're in a hell of a place in life. And you've taken a lot of damage this far, and those are going to be your fucking battle scars and your character.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. If you don't have battle scars, you can't be a real warrior, you know?
Use that pain. Use that depth to make a hell of a man.
To drive you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Love it.
All right, dude.
Great getting to know you.
Yeah. Send us an email. Let us know how the processing is going.
Yeah.
And love to talk to you from there.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.